Okay.
And also,
Okay. So most of you have had experience taking physics before, mechanics level.
yeah,
How many of you have already taken calculus instead of, or how many of you are in calculus right now? Is anybody in calculus right now?
already taking it.
Already taken it.
Okay, good, good. We don't do much calculus in this class, but it does help you if you've already been to that level. It definitely makes it a lot easier. All right, how many of you have taken an online class before? Is this new, or are you comfortable with it?
It's kind of, I've taken it before, but it's kind of, difficult sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely harder. How many of you taken one from like A&M Commerce, or is this new?
I just got done with summer one.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got done with summer one too.
Okay, good, good. All right, so you're familiar with D2L and how to turn in assignments and do all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now, physics, I don't know what other classes you took, but in the physics class, I expect you to show all your work whenever you do homework assignments or tutorials or any of that. And so you're going to have to just do it on paper, but then you're going to have to take pictures of it and upload it to the assignments. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I tried to explain that the easiest way is to, if you got a phone, is there are apps that'll convert pictures to PDFs. Because when you try to take a picture and you just try to upload your picture, different phones have different formats and sometimes we can't read them. So it's best if you can just convert it to a PDF. I think I sent out an email that had that information. Is anybody having problems with that?
I don't think so.
Has everybody tried to find an app or even tested it yet?
Oh, I tested one before. Yeah.
Okay. So we're not worried about that. Pretty good? Okay. How about the, so these are the things that we're going to have to be able to do. How about mastering physics here? I still show only 6 students that have signed up for mastering physics. I'm trying to cross list here who has. Looks like some of you have, but there's supposed to be like 14 in the class. So a lot of you still not done mastering physics. Let me show you mastering physics here if you haven't seen it yet. So I'm going to share my screen here. This one right here. All right, can you see that? So you just see a Google?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
see it.
See it? Okay. So all you do is go to Mastering Physics. I go there so often, I just have it linked. But you just type in Mastering Physics and it'll take you here. Okay. And then you sign in. If you don't have an account, then you have to create an account here. And once you create that account, you'll just use it all the time. And so then you go and you sign in. And when you sign in, the first time you sign in, it'll ask you, it'll ask you what course you want. This right here is the course number you must put in. That is in the syllabus, and it was also in the last email I sent to you. Okay. Now this is critical because this is how I'm going to do all the homework for the class. And your first homework is due like tomorrow. So this has to be done like right away. Let me see. Let's go to this one. Because when you go to it, it'll tell you what when all of them that are due. Now, mine will look a little bit different than yours when you log in because I'm the instructor, so it looks a little different. But if you go to assignments, or an even easier way, I already hit that, but is that you can just go to calendar and it shows you when all the assignments are due. And make sure you do that first one first. There's an intro to the mastering physics, because that one tells you like they have specific ways they want you to put in the answers. If you don't put them in the right way, even if you have the right answer, they won't give you credit for it. So here you go. This is the course, and these are when everything's due right here. So you see chapter 1 and the introduction. The introduction will take you like 10 minutes. In chapter 1, isn't very hard either, but they're both due tomorrow night. They're both due at midnight tomorrow night. And then we have chapter 2 due on Wednesday, 3 on Friday, and chapter 4 is due on the 13th. You'll also notice that there's something called these adaptive homeworks. What this is the way Mastering Physics works, is when you take the assignment, like the chapter 1 homework assignment, if you get better than an 80%, then you're just done with it. But if you do less than 80%, then it makes you do an adaptive follow-up. It actually looks at which problems you got wrong, and it gives you problems just like those problems. And you have to do this, what they call a follow-up, which helps you to learn the material that you didn't understand. So it gives you more problems to practice on. This is really important because when we get to the test, and the first test, this is why it's open here, the first test will be on the 15th of July. And I'll cover chapters 1 through 4. So that's why chapter 4 needs to be done before we get through to the first test. So
You said there's
go ahead.
Oh, you said there's like 13 homework assignments, right?
There's 12. Well, 13. Yeah, 13 counting this introduction thing. Yes.
Oh, okay.
One for each chapter. We're going to cover 12 chapters. So yeah, if you do well on the homeworks, you'll get this adaptive homework score. If you don't, meaning it just gives it to you, you don't have to do anything else. If you don't get above that 80%, you'll have to do the homework, adaptive homework. If you don't do it, then it gives you a 0 for that part too, and your grade starts to go down. Make sure you're doing the homework. This is physics. It's just like a math class or a physics class. All of them are the same. If you're not keeping up doing the homework, you're not going to do well in the class. You just have to do that, and you have to do it daily. And in the summer, you really have to work fast because we took our 15-week course and we put it into 5 weeks. So every week is like 3 weeks of a regular class. So you're doing a lot of work very quickly. So expect to be doing work on this every single day, a couple hours. But when we get to the test will have 2 parts. They'll have the problems, and they'll have a conceptual part, which is a multiple choice part, like 20 questions. Or 20 points worth, maybe not 20 questions. And then they'll have problems. The problems are going to be just like the problems you did in the Mastering Physics. So if you don't do the Mastering Physics, you also usually do poorly on the test. I've had students that try to get away without doing this, and they just fail the class. I've never had one not do the Mastering Physics and pass the class. It just doesn't happen. You need that practice. It's like anything, the more you practice, the better you get at it. And physics is all about problem solving. Any questions about Mastering Physics?
So you said that the homework was due tomorrow, but I checked last night and it said it was going to be due at midnight tonight. I mean, you probably just changed it or something, but last time I saw it was due.
I haven't changed it. I actually set this up like several weeks ago, but.
Nope, never mind. I'm still waking up.
Okay. All right.
Today's the 6th. I'm losing it.
Today's the 6th. Yeah, it should be due tomorrow, the 7th.
I do have one question also.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said, like when we do the homeworks, we need to like work them out in a piece of paper and then upload them as PDF?
Well, not these homeworks. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, I want to get this clarified here. There's actually different assignments that you have to do for this class. For the online, the Mastering Physics homeworks, no, you just do it all there, and I just get a grade. Okay. But we have other things. We have a tutorials, and we used to have labs, but the labs are now simulations, and let me show you that. Okay. So, any questions about Mastering Physics? All right. Go ahead.
All right. So if we have a question over a problem that we can't solve, we just email you directly, or
yeah, so
we contact you on the page.
Yeah, no, email me directly. Okay. I think you can email me from here too, but I'm not sure where. Just email me directly, saying that you'll have a problem. Now, there's several ways I can help you with the problem, because I do have office hours, which are 10 o'clock Monday through Thursday every week. Okay. Mm-hmm. We can always do it as a Zoom meeting, and I can talk you through it. I also have a document camera, so if we're talking, I can write out the problem and we can kind of work through it together. Or if you just want to email me and I'll try to email you back and forth, we can do that as well. Sometimes that works better if it's hard to communicate. But if you email me and say, oh, I can't do this, can we talk? Then I can set up a meeting at some time and we'll try to connect. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't want
have
you're not
another
out there on your own. You can definitely contact me for help. That's why I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Was there any questions about mastering physics?
Do we get, like, if we just miss a problem for and then run out of attempts, do we get more attempts just by emailing you, or is it kind of just?
No, I think you get so many attempts and then it kicks you off. I mean, essentially, you don't get that problem, it goes on to the next problem.
Okay.
And then it figures out what percentage you got there. So if you feel like you're stuck on one, or you think you got the right answer, but you can't figure out why it's not going in, best way would probably be just to contact me, okay?
Okay.
Now the problem is, and you got to plan ahead, is if you contact me at 11:49 in the evening and it's due at 11:59 at midnight, the odds are I probably won't even be looking at my email at that point. So if you want to contact me, you really need to contact me sometime during the day. Because if you contact me in the evening, I don't check my email continuously. I will check it the next day. And if you try to do it on the weekends, I often sometimes don't even look at my email until Monday morning. So you got to kind of plan ahead. So that's why I encourage you to do homework way in advance. Don't wait till the last minute and try to do the homework all in the last 30 minutes. It's not going to happen. Some of these homeworks are kind of long and it will take you several hours to get through. So keep up, stay ahead of the game. Okay?
All right.
All right, let's talk about the D2L. So I'm going to bring this over here so you can see it. Maybe it's spelling right here. But most of you have logged in. Now mine will look a little bit different than yours, of course, because as an instructor, I see a few different things. But basically, when you log into the home page, there'll be announcements, and I'll keep putting up announcements about what things are due, when they're due. Most of what you're going to do is under the content. So when you say chapter 1, don't go to doing the mastering physics of chapter 1 until you've watched the videos on chapter 1. So these are videos, and if you go to one of these videos here, you'll see it's a video of me lecturing, okay? So it is just like you were in class. The way I like to do it is I just film myself in front of a whiteboard, and I tend to film them. In fact, I always make them less than about 12 minutes. So I have several short videos instead of one really long video. There's a series of them, and some of the times when it's more complicated stuff, there might be part 1, 2, 3, and so on. But remember, this is just like you're in class. So when you're watching the video, you should be taking notes and paying attention. Also, when you look on their contents, if I go back to the table of contents here, chapter 1 isn't a very good one. But if I go to like chapter 2, you'll notice that I have links. These are video links. And this is where I'm lecturing about these different topics that you need to know. Then there's also going to be problems where I just pick out problems from the book and solve the problems for you. So it's an example for you to say, okay, how do I do a problem like this? So this one would be chapter 2, number 14. I am just doing that problem from the book. Okay, and if you watch it, I will explain the problem and do the problem. Now the book is the same thing as the Mastering Physics. When you go to Mastering Physics, you have access to the electronic book. So you can see all the chapters and all the problems that I am doing inside there. So you need to go and watch these and pay attention to the examples before you go do the Mastering Physics homework, and it'll make a whole lot more sense. Don't try to just do the homework if you haven't seen any of the videos, because you'll probably get lost. Couple other things about the content. I told you that on the tests have two parts. They have a conceptual part, and then they have the problems from each of the chapters. So here's chapter 2. You see this? This is what's called the quick check. That's the conceptual part. And if you click on this, you'll see it's actually just a PowerPoint with multiple choice questions, but it asks conceptual questions like the ones I ask on a test. So this is the book we're using, but this is chapters 2. And so you have to understand here, what is the difference between distance traveled and displacement for this ant? And then here's the question, and then right next to it, that shows you which answer is correct. So what you need to do is do this, try to figure it out, and then look at the answer, see if you've got it right. If you don't, then figure out why you got it wrong, because there will be questions just like this on each of the tests. We call these the conceptual questions. Do you understand the concepts? And for each chapter, if you look at each chapter, there'll be a quick check in here for every one of the chapters. So here it is for chapter 1, and then for chapter 2, and so on, chapter 3. So, questions about any of that? One of the things you'll find is the chapters are not even. You see, chapter 3 doesn't have much material, but chapter 4 has a lot of material. So you got to do chapter 4, spend a lot more time on chapter 4, or prepare to spend a lot more time on chapter 4, because there's a lot more material in chapter 4 than there is in chapter 3. They're not spaced out evenly. The book never did it quite that way. Also, so what you're going to do is spend most of your time under the content part. This is this part, and we're going to work our way through here. Notice the first test is going to be after chapter 4, and the first test, I had it down here, is on, let me see, is on July 15th. So that's about a week from Wednesday, I believe. So we go through it pretty quickly. There also is in the review, I put a review, it's just the topics of things that you should have covered and you should understand before that first test. Essentially all the stuff, or the main gist of the stuff from chapters 1 through 4. So that's there to help you. There's one for test 2 and one for test 3. Now I left it open. I'm very good about that. Some professors don't let these things open until certain days. You could do the whole, you can look at everything for the whole class if you wanted to. I don't recommend it because you really need to do chapter 1 through 4 before the first test. If you're up here trying to do chapter 5 and 6, you may forget this material. So work on the material up to the test. Then this material is for the second test, and then this material down here is for the third test. The class does have a final, which is a review of all the rest of it. Most of it, I just take problems from the first 3 tests and put them together, change the numbers and stuff around just to make sure you understood the class and you can have a mastery of the subject. Also in here, so that's where the content is. Then grades, you'll go here to check your grades. You just go to grades and it'll show you what your grades are. But you need to do activities. And we go to activities and assignments right here. And this will look slightly different for you because some of the stuff you won't see yet. But there's 2 other parts to the class. There's tutorials and there's simulations. So right here, this is a position and velocity tutorial. And it doesn't show it here because I'm not looking at it the way you'll see it. Let me see if I can adjust this here. View as student. See if this works better here. So when I go to tutorials, oh, it opens at 10:41. It opens shortly, so I can't look at it. Never mind. But it will by the time we get done with this meeting. You can actually start doing this tutorial. But when you see it, I'm going to go back to seeing it as me. You'll see that what it is going through, and it's a sheet, and you have to answer all these questions. And that's the part where you need to like print it. You don't even have to print it. You could just write the answers on a separate sheet. But then that sheet you have to take pictures of, scan it, and upload it under the assignments. And when you upload it, then it'll be graded. So that's the part where you have to do that. You also have to do the same thing with the simulations. Let's go to this one right here. Now the simulations are done with the PHYS. Has anybody tried to log in that? Is that working?
Yeah. The movie man simulation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So here it is, it's free. The thing that you have to do is some of the simulations don't work if your computer doesn't have like a Java or something. So you got to make sure that they work in advance. Okay. And here, oh, sorry, we were in the right place. Here you go. When you get here, just go to physics, and then whatever one we do. One of the first ones we do is, I'm going to turn off all these. We don't care about those. In this class, all we're doing is motion, and then they're alphabetical. So we would do, I think we're doing moving man one. Let me see where it is.
All the way at the bottom.
Yeah, the moving man. I forgot about the part. And you can just click on this button right here and it'll download it, and then you can play it. And it should work for you. I know it worked for me before. I was doing it too fast because it took it a while to download it. But here is what it looks like. All right, and then when you go to the activity, so when you go back here on the activity, you'll see, here it is right here. It's just a Word document, but you'll have to open that Word document. And it'll give you instructions for what to do with the moving man. And it'll tell you what to do, how to set it up, and then you're going to have to do this on separate sheets of paper, and then you'll have to upload it here, okay? And you'll be able to see that. It'll make more sense when the assignment actually shows up, and you'll be able to see the assignment. And then you upload your answers as a PDF. Am I making this more confusing, or does this kind of make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. If you've taken other D2L classes, it's not that hard, okay? If it's the first time, it seems weird, but once you get used to doing assignments, it's not that bad. Any questions about that part, about assignments? All right. One more thing I want to talk about too is we don't do discussions in this class, but we do have, when I do tests, they'll be under quizzes. There'll be exam 1, 2, and 3. I actually don't even have them up here yet because I haven't written them yet. But that's where you'll find the exams. When the first exam comes on the 15th, you'll go to activities, you go to quizzes. But when you do the quiz, you're going to do the work on a separate sheet of paper. Under quizzes, for some reason, you can't upload the PDF file. So what I do is under assignments, I will put an assignment for the test 2, and so, or test 1, I'll have one in here, and you'll upload your assignments under your work for test 1 under assignments, even though you're taking the test under quiz. I'm sorry about that, but that's just one of the flaws of D2L. Is you can upload the files under assignments, but you can't do it under quizzes. So the quiz will be under quizzes, but you upload your answers under assignments. It's okay. You'll see a test here, and you'll just put all your, you'll just upload it under test 1, and it'll make sense.
How much time will we have for each exam?
Yeah, so I usually give you 2 hours to do the exam, but whatever day it was, like the 15th, I don't make you do it at a specific time on that day. So it's going to be open all day long. But as soon as you start the test, you only have 2 hours to do it. Okay? So make sure when you're ready to go and that you have 2 hours. And don't do it because it ends at midnight. So don't start it at 10 and then get to midnight and you haven't uploaded your files yet. So give yourself a little bit of time. But you can do it at 10 in the morning, or you could do it at 6 p.m. that day. You just have to do it sometime during that day.
Do those 2 hours include time to upload the work?
Yes. Because what I can do, I make the upload like a half hour longer than I make the test. So the test will run out, but then when you upload it under assignments, you have an extra half hour to upload. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that'll be the same for all the tests. So it has to be done that day, but it's not at a specific time that day. You just have to do it that day sometime. And it's physics class, so remember, it's not like other classes. I don't care that much about your answer. I care about how you get to the answer. So the key to getting full grades is to do all the answers, is to show me all your work. Okay, make sure you show me all the work, and then you'll get full credit for it.
So we will still receive credit for the work we show, even if the answer is wrong?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Remember, I care mostly about the process. How do you get there? And if you start out and you're doing the problem right and you just make a mistake and end up with the wrong answer, you'll get most of the credit. But if you don't even start out right and you don't do anything right from the beginning, then you won't. So I look at how far you went along with the right technique. All right. Let me see. So I talked about assignments, I talked about tests, I talked about mastering physics. Do you have any questions that I could answer? One thing, I don't know if you know this, but it will be different for you. But if you go to this checkerboard thing, when you get into D2L, under there, I'll show your classes, if you're taking more than one class. And there'll be a Office of Academic Technology thing that you can click on. And if you have questions about how to use D2L, there's answers in there of showing how to turn in assignments, how to look up things, that kind of stuff. Communication tools, you can click on that. From there, you should be able to email me directly if you have questions or problems. Email is probably the best way to get a hold of me. In fact, it's pretty much the only way. But I do check my email very regularly during the week, and I will get back to you, as soon as I can. Any questions? Is everybody ready for this semester?
Yeah.
You think so? All right. So the first thing to do today is, if you don't have your Mastering Physics, make sure you get that today. Start going through the videos for chapters 1 and 2 and start working on the Mastering Physics homework for those. That's your goal for the next 2 days.
All right. And you said it's fine to continue like other chapters once we're done with the ones that we need?
Yeah. All I'm saying is, by the 13th, because it's an online class, you can go at whatever pace you want. But by the 15th, sorry, when our first test is, you need to have chapters 1 through 4 completed.
All right.
Okay, and all the assignments and activities. Okay. So, and I will keep adding announcements regularly. So when you log in, you will see an announcement. I haven't put one up, but I'm going to put announcements up probably this afternoon about the tutorials that are going to be due and the simulation that is due before the test, the first test. So I will add those and let you know more about that. And I do that through announcements. So check your announcements.
Okay.
When a new announcement comes on, it'll come up on top. So these will just keep moving down and there'll be new announcements. And so it's easy to follow. And again, the key is, if you have any questions, email me. Okay, any other questions? All right, well, good luck, and I will be here. So if you have any problems or questions, just email me. We may have another meeting like this just as we get close to the first test. If you have any questions, and I will do it as an office hours. But if you don't, I think email is the best, because I know a lot of students are working, and sometimes they can't do it at a specific time. So, all right. Thank you for joining, and good luck.
All right. Thanks. Have a good morning.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.